Hello, I am Marco. I am a language teacher and researcher, and today I will explain why Spanish language is an endangered language. Let me talk about the Aragonese language, a language that I also speak that I am very proud to speak too. So the Aragonese language was the most powerful, not the most powerful language, but more or less the official language of the Aragonese kingdom in the Middle Ages. So it was a very powerful language in the Mediterranean Sea at that time. However, in the 15th century, the new kings decided to change the language and to promote Castilian. And the upper class people at that time, nobility and so on, they decided to follow them, changing little by little, step by step, the language from Aragonese into Spanish. Furthermore, in the 18th century and in the 20th century, some other political facts promote the disappearance of the Aragonese language. But everything started before. Everything started in the 12th, 13th, 14th century in the Aragonese people. They Castilian was a more trendy language at that time. So the Castilian influence in the Aragonese texts started before than the political changes. First, the society, then the politics. Coming back to the Spanish language, we have that nowadays Spanish language is the second most spoken language in the world according to the number of native speakers. That's good. How can it be endangered then? If we go to the total number of the speakers, we have that it is the fourth behind Mandarin Chinese, which is the most spoken language in the world according to native speakers, but also behind English and Hindi, although Hindi is a very specific case. What's the reason? The reason is obviously that people prefer to learn other languages. The number of people learning Spanish language is reduced, and that's the problem. That's why Spanish language is not so well as it should be. Remember that it's the second language according to the number of native speakers. If we go to this table, obviously in the first positions we find English, Chinese, Arabic, because of the specificities of the Arabic societies. But interestingly, we find French and German, and that's really worrying, and I will explain that now. To understand the situation, we need to relate languages to political areas or influence, to political influence and to power. Even if I personally don't like that, but that's what has happened in the history and what is still happening nowadays. Language, power, power, language. And nowadays we have 3 or 4 different political areas, political influential areas in the world. The Western influential area, Russia, China, and maybe the Arabic world. So, and the language of the Western political area is English, the main language, I mean. In Russia, it's Russian. In China, it's Mandarin Chinese. And we can argue, although this is a matter of debate, that in the Arabic world, modern Arabic too. But Spanish is not the first option in any political influential area. At least, at best, it would be the second in the Western area. It would be. Why? Because if we focus on the chapter before, we have that people all over the world prefer to learn French than German. Languages with fewer speakers. So we can also argue that Latin America, together with Spain and Equatorial Guinea, that forms a political area whose main language is Spanish, but actually that's not the case. If we go to these places, if you want to promote your career, you need to learn English, even if you are in Spain. Business people speak English, upper class people in general speak English, academic, intellectual people, we speak English too, and we develop our works in English. So Spanish is not the first option in any political area of influence or in any powerful sphere. And that's what happened with the Aragonese language in the 15th century. So when I say that Spanish language is an endangered language, I'm not saying that it has a few thousand speakers, that it's going to die in the next decades, as most of endangered languages. I am saying that it presents a negative evolution, that linguistic policies related to Spanish language are not efficient, and in the future, if there is a political will, there can be a language shift.